guys, what is up? AwesomeTheSauce here. I hope you guys are having a great day and welcome to another theory. It's not Thursday, but we're gonna call it Thursday even though it's Tuesday. I don't care, alright? The alliteration is gone and I want it. Today's theory is about the ending of Empyrea Part 2 and what it means. Now, before I even go on about it, obviously major spoilers ahead. If you don't like spoilers, do not watch this video. But that being said, it's some juiciness, so I think you should watch it, my mans. But yeah, let's get right into the joints, my mans. The ending of Empyrea Part 2 basically leaves you off with a really cool cutscene. Now, I'm not gonna actually talk about what happens with Raven and Spider because I don't actually think that's that important for this video. But what's really important is a scene that takes place at the very end.
Foolish creatures, you have accomplished nothing.
Sakes alive! What's that?
The Tree of Knowledge? Sybil only speaks if she has information that must be heard. The fact that she singled you out, Wizard, is important.
Oh my, being Bartleby's scion is shaping up to be a full-time responsibility. You should see what this Tree of Knowledge has to tell you.
Greetings, Wizard, or should I say, Scion. I could not help but overhear your joyous celebration. I do hope that you remain sufficiently afraid.
We've no time for riddles, Tree. What are we supposed to be afraid of?
You poor, excitable, insignificant beings. You have nothing to fear.
Well, that was disconcerting. I fear your heroics in thwarting Raven and Spider may have unintentionally ushered in something much worse. It will take some time for us to process this information, Wizard. Until then, do not stray far.
Now, I got this cutscene courtesy of Alexander Lionheart. I'll link him in the description. You know, I'm not trying to steal any content without giving credit, but my mans, when I first saw that scene, honestly, dude, it's a little bit chilling. Like, you know, you're in the middle of celebrating, right? And then suddenly, some random character that we've never really heard about, right? We've never even learned about. We've just seen them sleeping, like, you know, literally for the entire time we've been in the Arcanum. Suddenly, they wake up, and they're called the Tree of Knowledge, and they drop some knowledge on you, saying that you have nothing to fear. Now, when I first heard you have nothing to fear, I was very surprised, right? I mean, if I have nothing to fear, then what are we actually fearing, you know? What's the whole point of them telling us to have fear if the whole point is to fear nothing? And I've been thinking a lot about it, and the reason why I think I can actually make a theory about it is for a lot of reasons. So let's get right into it, my mans. Now, when I heard of the Tree of Knowledge, I immediately thought of the biblical Tree of Knowledge. And this is really interesting because in the Bible, basically, right, there's a Tree of Knowledge and there's a Tree of Life. And it's obvious, we know who the Tree of Life is. It's pretty obviously Bartleby, you know, it's a life spell. It makes sense. You know, it was on that life, you know, tree that, you know, two beings, you know, Raven and Spider flourished. You know, it makes a lot of sense, you know. It seems like a whole Adam and Eve type story in general, you know, and it makes sense that there's a Tree of Life. However, in the Bible, there's also a Tree of Knowledge, and it represented some other evil, you know. And what I think is that, you know, there is some kind of religious undertone almost that inspires Arc 4. Now, when I'm talking about religion, you know, I know a lot of people are like, oh my god, that's just such a reach. It's actually really not. There's a lot of themes throughout Wizard101 that, you know, you can derive religion from, you know, various religions. They're actually, interestingly, very good about it. You look at the Muda, it's based off of the Buddha, right? And then, you know, you can also look at, you know, Nordic themes, you know, in Grizzleheim. What I thought is really cool, because I'm personally a Hindu, it's really interesting to see the relationship of Raven, Spider, and Tree as, you know, a destroyer, a preserver, and a creator. You know, it seems really interesting that they align very well with that. So to make to make the claim that, like, they're actually, like, based on some kind of religion, it's not that different. Now, here's where it actually gets interesting. When Adam and Eve ate the forbidden fruit from the tree of knowledge, they were shunned. And they were basically shunned by the Creator, basically. And they were not allowed to be part of the world anymore, Basically, that's how it goes. So, it would be very interesting if the spiral was created by those who partook in the tree of life, which is Bartleby. So, Raven and Spider created the spiral, we know. But there could be other things that were created by people who partook in the tree of knowledge, the fruits from the tree of knowledge. Now, what's really interesting is that the tree of knowledge would be one of those that was there in the forest that started it all. You learn about this forest in Empyrea, where Bartleby first grew. It's very, very interesting to see that, Raven, Spider, and the Tree of Life, basically, were all in one place, and the Tree of Knowledge was there too, and it's not really that crazy to assume that there was something else there. There's just some other beings besides the Raven and Spider that just aren't a part of the spiral, because Raven and Spider created the spiral, like, they're separate from it. So, why do I say that it's separate from the spiral? Well, one, the whole idea of having nothing to fear, it sounds like we have something coming to the spiral, spreading, like, whatever nothing is supposed to be, it might be trying to erase the spiral with nothingness, because maybe that's, I don't know, there's nothing else that it could possibly be, in my opinion. If you have nothing to fear, that means you have the threat of the entire spiral being erased. Another reason why I think there's something coming to the spiral is because that was actually put into the text of a lot of side dungeons. In Brisk Breeze, the final person that you save, Lieutenant Culpepper, saw a message on a key that you retrieved that something was coming to the spiral. So that's really also very, very interesting, And also, it would make sense that the Tree of Knowledge could actually sense that something was coming to the spiral, because we already know that the Arcanum is nowhere close to the actual spiral. We don't know where the spiral is. I've always wondered this, but we're not surrounded by any worlds. We're surrounded by a black hole, and there seems to be a lot of, like, streams of energy going from the Tree of Knowledge into the black hole. So I've always thought that the black hole is basically like a wormhole into the spiral, and this is actually separate from it, and this gives the tree access to a lot of things. Now, it also makes sense that the Arcanum isn't a part of the spiral, because it was originally used by the Cabal. It was called the Spiral Arc to get away from it if it was to be destroyed. It's supposed to be an escape from the spiral to watch over it. That's what the Arcanum really does. So what I really think is that we have a new source of magic coming. Every arc always introduces new magic. In the second arc, we got a lot of shadow magic. In the third arc, we got even more shadow magic. Second arc, we actually got astral. That's what it was. Second arc, we got astral. Third arc, we focused on shadow enhanced spells. We actually got actual shadow spells, even more. So, like, what I really think is going to happen is that we have a new source of magic. And it's basically, how every school tree has a school to it. I think the Tree of Knowledge must have some sort of school associated with it that isn't a part of the spiral, because as happened in the Bible, anyone who partook in this tree wasn't really welcome in the world that was the original one, So I think, because Raven and Spider at the end of Empyrea, spoiler alert, are basically out of the equation, now it basically leaves a vacuum of power for anything to come into the spiral. I think it would be a very, very decent segue to say that whatever school this tree is a part of, somebody knows that magic, and they're a very, very powerful being, and now that there's no one in their way to get rid of the spiral, they're going to come back with a vengeance because they got kicked out. So now, obviously, I'm using a lot of biblical themes, but I actually think that that's actually, that's not that crazy, and there's also evidence throughout. There are school trees. In Brisk Breeze, there was basically text that said, there is something coming to the spiral, and it would make sense that this tree specifically, over anything else, at the end of Empyrea can sense it, because we're not actually in the spiral when we're in the Arcanum. We're outside the spiral. So I think it would make sense if the stakes got a little higher, but I don't think it's gonna be necessarily a god, like in Empyrea, basically like with the Raven, the Titans, Old Cobb, all that. I think it's gonna be a really, really powerful practicer of magic who wants to spread his magic, which may be the magic of nothing, maybe the magic of knowledge. I don't really know. It might be some new school, but whatever it is, it's probably going to be like almost an antithesis to whatever, you know, whatever, you know, the spiral is. I think that's what's going to happen, y'all. Let me know what you guys think. The cutscene was really juicy. I feel like we're going to have a new source of magic, either the magic of knowledge, magic of nothing, something like that, you know, that threatens the spiral. And it makes sense if this tree knows about it, because maybe this is the tree of magic that, you know, we just don't have in the spiral because it's outside the spiral. What do y'all think? Do y'all think this is a good theory? I definitely think it's a banger theory because I feel like it has a lot of evidence behind it, and it's the only thing that really makes sense to me. But these videos only work if you leave a comment in the discussion telling me what y'all think. And yeah, my mans, if you enjoyed the discussion video, make sure you drop a like, and if you really are feeling epic, drop a sub and join the Curry Muncher family, my mans. We live stream every day, Twitch and YouTube, so make sure you check those in the description below. If somebody hasn't told you you're awesome today, they're doing something wrong, my man, so stay awesome, bruh. And yeah.